A police officer has just been transferred to the station in Ponda, a town in Goa, India. There are two police stations there, the old one, and right next to it, a brand new station that was only inaugurated the week before. At the center of it all is a man named Vijay Salgankar, who seems to be under arrest. So what exactly happened to him? And this is where everything begins. This is Drishyam. The story then flashes back to a time when Vijay was still living a simple and peaceful life. Vijay only studied up to the 4th grade and now runs a small cable TV business with the help of an employee named Jose. He is obsessed with movies and spends most of his time at his office watching them. Still, he is known as a kind and decent man with plenty of friends in Ponda. Every day he has lunch at Martin's food stall, which sits directly across from the police station. One day, an elderly couple finds themselves in serious trouble. Their only son has been illegally locked up by a corrupt policeman named Gaiton. The reason is absurd. The couple failed to pay the final installment on a loan, and Gaiton just happens to be the cousin of the finance company owner. The case has nothing to do with the police, but Gaiton abuses his power anyway. He even threatens to kill their son if they dare report him to his superiors. Vijay suddenly remembers something he once saw in a movie, that when someone is detained illegally, the police can be challenged in court through a legal process called habeas corpus. He quickly steps in and helps the couple reach a lawyer he knows. But before things can go any further, Martin tells them to leave immediately because Gaiton is on his way to the stall. Even though Vijay spends a lot of time at his office, sometimes even staying there overnight, he truly loves his family. His wife is Nandini, and they have 2 daughters, Anju and Anu. Nandini often complains that Vijay barely spends time with them and seems more interested in movies than his own home. So she asks him to take the family to Panaji, the capital city, for a little vacation, some shopping, and maybe a movie. Around the same time, Anju is chosen to represent her school at a statewide high school camp in Goa. Vijay finally gives her permission to go. At the camp, Anju quickly becomes one of the girls getting the most attention. Among the students, there is a boy named Samir, who keeps recording her on his phone. Vijay's brother-in-law, Rajesh, works in social activism, and his group is involved in shutting down a stone quarry that has drawn heavy criticism for harming the environment. Meanwhile, Martin introduces Vijay to a contractor named Rane, the man overseeing construction of the new police station. Not long after that, Gaiton shows up again. He suspects Vijay is the one who helped the elderly couple, and he clearly does not like it. He regularly eats at Martin's place without ever paying, then acts like Martin should be grateful because the workers building the new police station also eat there. In reality, it is just the closest place around. Vijay cannot stand Gaitonde's behavior and openly mocks his attitude, even reporting it to Inspector Sawant. Later, while Vijay is digging a compost pit, Nandini comes to see him and mentions that a religious figure named Swami will be giving a sermon in Panaji on October 6th, 2nd, and 3rd. She wants the whole family to attend. Anju then talks about how much fun the camp was, and also mentions Samir's habit of filming girls there. At the same time, Gaiton confronts Rajesh, furious that Rajesh reported his misconduct to a senior officer. Vijay steps in to defend Rajesh, because deep down, he knows Rajesh did the right thing. That night, after finishing a movie, Vijay heads home and spends some quiet time with Nandini. Meanwhile, Nandini asks Anju to go to the market, but on the way, she is suddenly approached by Samir. He reveals something horrifying. He has a video of Anju while she was bathing. He tells her he will not share it, but only if she meets him alone behind her house at midnight. Anju is left shaken, confused, and terrified about what to do. Later that night, a heavy storm hits the town. Vijay decides to stay overnight at his office. As promised, Samir shows up behind Anju's house, but Nandini is there too. Since Anju did not follow his instructions, Samir threatens to release the video. Nandini desperately tries to stop him, and both of them struggle to grab his phone. Then things take an even darker turn, as Samir makes a disturbing demand in exchange for deleting the video. The next morning, Vijay returns home and is shocked to find his family in a state of fear. Something terrible has happened. During the struggle the night before, Anju tried to smash Samir's phone with an iron rod, but instead, she struck his head. In panic, she continued hitting the fallen phone, not realizing that Samir had already suffered a fatal injury. Anju tries to call Vijay, but his office phone is switched off. Overwhelmed and terrified, Nandini and Anju make a desperate decision. They bury Samir's body, unaware that Anu has witnessed everything. When Vijay finally hears the truth, Nandini questions whether what they did was wrong. Vijay refuses to see it that way. He believes that if they go to the police, Anju's life will be destroyed. At that moment, he makes a firm promise to protect his family no matter what. He immediately takes control of the situation. He tells them to clean up any evidence left behind. Then he notices Sameer's SIM card and remembers something from a movie, that a SIM card can be traced if it is placed into an active phone. So he takes it with him. Vijay instructs his family to stay inside, act normal, and not go anywhere until he returns. He plans to get rid of Sameer's car. As he is about to move it, Gaiton is nearby, extorting money from someone seeking help with a passport. When the car makes a noise, Gaiton briefly catches a glimpse of Vijay entering the yellow vehicle. While driving, Vijay spots a banner announcing Swami's sermon on October 2nd and 3rd, which reminds him of what Nandini mentioned earlier. He quickly forms a plan. He buys a second-hand phone with a full battery and asks the shopkeeper to insert Sameer's SIM card into it. As soon as the phone is turned on, messages and calls begin coming in. Next, Vijay heads to a truck stop. He carefully wipes all fingerprints from the phone, then tosses it into a truck that is about to travel far away. After that, he remembers something Rajesh told him about a closed stone quarry. Vijay drives there without hesitation and sinks Sameer's car deep into the water, making sure it will never be easily found. When Vijay returns to his office, he casually tells Jose that he plans to attend a 2-day sermon in Panaji. But Jose immediately senses something unusual. Vijay is acting far too kind, completely different from his usual rough attitude. Not long after, Vijay gathers his family and gives them strict instructions. He tells them to erase all fear from their faces and behavior, and to convince themselves that they have never even heard of Sameer. If someone as ordinary as Jose can notice something is off, then the police definitely will. They must act completely normal at all times. And importantly, Vijay never reveals what he did with Sameer's car. He then tells them to pack their things and leave for Panaji, supposedly to calm themselves down. If anyone asks, they should simply say they are attending Swami's sermon, even though the event has already ended by then. Then Nandini drops a shocking truth. Sameer is the son of the Inspector General of Goa Police, a woman named Meera. She is known to be extremely intelligent, strict, and ruthless. If hurting or even killing someone could solve her problem, she would not hesitate. Her husband, Mahesh, is already worried about Sameer's disappearance, since there has been no news since the night before. But Meera brushes it off, believing that young people need their freedom. Vijay and his family travel to Panaji by bus. The conductor recognizes Vijay and lets them ride for free. Once they arrive, they go to the place where the sermon was held, even though it is already over. They check into a hotel, eat at a restaurant, watch a movie, and then eventually return home. Even during the trip, Nandini and Anju cannot hide their fear, especially when they pass by a cemetery. Vijay reminds them once again that fear is their biggest enemy and it must disappear. He also tells them to collect receipts for everything they buy, no matter how small. At one point, the police show up, saying they only want to meet Vijay, but Anju immediately panics, unable to control her fear. Vijay quickly steps in to block the situation and keep things under control. Meanwhile, Meera begins to suspect that something is wrong. She orders the cyber division to track Sameer's phone. The results are strange. The phone appears to travel far from Goa, all the way to Kanchipuram before going offline. At the same time, people swimming at a stone quarry discover Sameer's car submerged underwater. According to the police, the car has been there for about 2 weeks, yet there is no sign of Sameer himself. Meera makes it clear that the media must not find out about this case. The last recorded call from Sameer's phone is on October the 2nd at 7 p.m. in Ponda. Then the signal disappears. Later that night at 10:30 p.m., the phone becomes active again. The next morning at 9:25 a.m., it appears in Panaji and finally goes offline in Kanchipuram. The police conclude that the phone active on the night of October 2nd and the one active on October 3rd are actually two different devices. Based on this, they decide to limit their investigation within Goa. Mahesh grows increasingly convinced that something terrible has happened to his son. 3 weeks pass with no trace of Sameer. The Goa police begin spreading the case across multiple cities, including Ponda. Then Gaiton remembers something important. He recalls seeing a yellow car, the same one belonging to Sameer, and suddenly connects it to Vijay, whom he saw entering that car earlier. Knowing Vijay often visits Martin's place, Gaiton decides to test him. He starts extorting money from someone nearby while keeping an eye on Vijay's reaction. But Vijay does not react the way he usually would. And when Gaiton mentions that the police have found a yellow car, Vijay's brief moment of shock is enough. That small reaction confirms Gaiton's suspicion. Without wasting time, Gaiton reports everything to Inspector Sawant. Vijay calmly walks away from the situation, but Gaiton is not convinced. He believes that if Vijay is truly guilty, he would show signs of nervousness, maybe even turn back when called. That suspicion only grows stronger, because Gaiton clearly remembers seeing Vijay enter the same yellow car. Knowing that the police will eventually come for them, Vijay begins preparing his family. He tests them, asking each of them to recall exactly what they did on October 2nd and 3rd. He is completely certain that the police will investigate, and that they might even use force to extract the truth. Still, Vijay reassures them. He insists that the police have no real evidence or leads about Samir. So no matter what happens, they must stick to the story they agreed on. He reminds Nandini that their family is not in the wrong, and promises that none of them will end up in prison. For him, there are only two choices: give up or stand their ground and fight. Soon, the police begin questioning witnesses. One of them is unsure if the person he saw was really Vijay, and yellow cars are not exactly rare in the area. At the same time, Prabhakar learns that Samir attended the same camp as Anju. He also discovers that Anju is an adopted child, found abandoned as a baby. This only strengthens his belief that Vijay is a good man, making him question Gaiton's accusations. But Gaiton refuses to back down and remains certain that Vijay is involved. The police then approach Anju at her school. At first she panics, but she remembers her father's words. Fear is the strongest evidence, and it must be eliminated. Vijay had warned her that the police would test her, trying to break her confidence. She knows Samir, but she also knows she must not reveal anything about what happened at home. So Anju holds her ground. When asked if she met Samir on October 2nd, she denies it. Even when Gaiton tries to pressure her by claiming she is lying, she does not waver. She repeats that she never met him, and calmly explains that she and her family were in Panaji on October 2nd and 3rd, attending Swami's sermon. When the police try to verify her school attendance, they hit a dead end. October the 2nd is a national holiday, and October 3rd falls on a Sunday. That makes her alibi even stronger. With nothing to challenge her statement, Anju is allowed to return to class. Next, the police question Nandini and Vijay. They have already been informed by the school about what happened earlier. Both of them deny ever seeing the yellow car or knowing Samir. Then the police explain the case, and Gaiton repeats his claim that he saw Vijay entering Samir's car and believes Samir came to their house. In a tense moment, Nandini accidentally says that their family was not at home on October 2nd and 3rd, even though the police had not mentioned those dates yet. It seems like a critical mistake. Gaiton immediately feels like he has won, but instead of panicking, Vijay simply laughs. He explains that Nandini is still shaken and worried, especially after hearing about what happened at school. Since the principal already called them, it makes sense that they would know the incident happened on October 2nd. Her reaction, according to Vijay, is nothing more than fear for her daughter. He then turns the situation around, claiming that Gaiton's accusations are nothing but personal bias, since the two of them have never gotten along. Finally, Prabhakar asks Vijay to describe everything his family did on October 2nd and 3rd, and to provide receipts as proof. Vijay calmly explains that as a middle-class family, they have a habit of keeping receipts for their expenses. After reviewing everything, the police find no solid reason to proceed further. For now, they decide to leave. Gaiton refuses to back down. He remains convinced that the man he saw was Vijay. With that belief, they take the case to Meera. After hearing everything, Meera points out that Vijay's family has receipts that support their story. Still, she orders the police to verify whether those receipts are genuine. The next day, Meera summons Vijay and his entire family. She cannot accept that someone with only a fourth-grade education could outsmart the system this way. One by one, they are interrogated in separate rooms, each asked to explain what they did in Panaji on October 2nd and 3rd. But Vijay has already prepared them for this moment. He warned that if their answers match perfectly, especially in terms of timing, the police will become suspicious. So he instructs them carefully. He and Nandini will answer with exact times, while Anju and Anu will give rough estimates. He also reminds them that the police may lie during questioning to test their consistency, so they must stay firm no matter what. Outside, the situation begins to escalate. Vijay's friends and family learn that he has been detained without a clear reason. They gather and try to break through the police barriers, while journalists and national media quickly pick up the story about a family being held in connection to Samir's disappearance. Inside, Meera starts to feel that something is not right. She finds it hard to believe that a young child like Anu could remain so steady under pressure. That alone convinces her that the family knows more than they are saying. However, the police cannot use a lie detector without court approval, and that requires solid proof that they are lying. So Meera changes her strategy. She calls in everyone who might have seen Vijay during those dates, including people from the hotel, the bus, and the restaurant he supposedly visited. If Vijay is lying, someone must have noticed inconsistencies. Around this time, Rajesh meets Vijay and tries to find out what is going on, but Vijay keeps everything hidden and only asks for his help when the time comes. Then the next phase begins. One by one, the witnesses are questioned. Surprisingly, all of them confirm the same thing. Vijay was indeed in Panaji on October 2nd and 3rd. The hotel records show his name for those exact dates. Even more convincing, Vijay is able to describe Swami's sermon in great detail to both Jose and Martin. Swami himself also believes that Vijay attended, since he seems to remember the sermon so clearly. This leaves Meera frustrated. She cannot find a direct flaw, yet her instincts tell her something is wrong. She learns from a bus conductor that Vijay withdrew money from an ATM at the terminal. That becomes her next lead. She requests CCTV footage from the ATM on October 3rd, the day the bus left Panaji for Ponda. At the same time, she questions how the conductor could remember Vijay so clearly when he sees hundreds of passengers every day. The answer reveals something deeper. Vijay had returned to those same people after the trip and reminded them that he had visited on October 2nd and 3rd for the sermon. By doing that, he planted a memory in their minds. Psychologically, they became convinced that it really happened that way. As for the sermon itself, it turns out recordings of it were distributed among followers. That explains how Vijay could describe it so precisely. Even with all this, Meera still lacks concrete proof. The only solid evidence left is the ATM footage. But when they finally check it, the footage clearly shows Vijay in Panaji on October 3rd. Meera begins putting all the pieces together from the very start of the case, and eventually she reaches a chilling conclusion. Vijay really was in Panaji on October 3rd, but he was still lying. What he actually did was recreate those 2 days, October 2nd and 3rd, after everything had already happened. She realizes just how clever he is. Vijay and his family did go to Panaji. They stayed at a hotel, watched a movie, and ate at restaurants. But none of it happened on the dates they claimed. Vijay had also explained that his children were sick and missed school for a few days, even showing receipts for medicine. But Meera sees right through that, knowing how easily such receipts can be manipulated. Then she reconstructs his entire plan step by step. On October 3rd, Vijay carries out everything alone. He drives around, visits places, and even buys 4 movie tickets and 4 bus tickets, all just to collect receipts with that specific date. The next day on October 4th, he brings his family along and repeats the same routine. He even adds his name into the hotel register under the date October 2nd, then uses a false name on October 4th when the hotel staff shows Nandini their room. When they leave on October 5th, Vijay pretends to withdraw money from an ATM, even though he does not actually take anything. After that, he presents the receipts dated October 3rd as evidence, studies the sermon of Swami, and then returns to Panaji once again. This time he meets the same people and carefully convinces them that he visited on October 2nd and returned on October 3rd. It is a plan so detailed that it completely misleads the entire police system. Even after uncovering the truth behind his actions, the authorities still lack solid proof. And without proof, there is only one option left in their eyes: force a confession. The police bring Vijay and his family back in. This is when Rajesh finally steps in to help, using the contact numbers Vijay had prepared earlier. Those numbers turn out to belong to media outlets across India. Meera confronts them again, stating that their entire plan has been exposed. She lays out the truth, that they went to Panaji on October 4th and 5th, not the 2nd and 3rd, and that they never actually attended Swami's sermon. But despite all that, the family refuses to confess. With frustration boiling over, violence begins. The interrogation turns brutal, and it only stops when Sameer's close friend, Alex, arrives. He is asked to share anything he knows about Sameer and Anju. It turns out Alex was the last person to call Sameer before his phone went dead, though Sameer never revealed his location. Eventually, Alex explains what really happened at the camp, including how Sameer had secretly recorded Anju. Hearing this shocks Meera, but at the same time, it only strengthens her belief that Vijay's family is responsible. Once again, she demands the truth from Vijay, now armed with knowledge about the video. Still, Vijay refuses to admit anything and claims he knows nothing. Desperate, Meera orders Gaiton to do whatever it takes to make them talk. And once again, the violence continues. Even after enduring all of it, Vijay, Nandini, and Anju refuse to confess. So Gaiton shifts his focus to the youngest Anu, but even she refuses to give in. Meera then realizes that as long as her parents are present, Anu will never break. So Vijay, Nandini, and Anju are removed from the room. Outside, Nandini and Anju begin to lose hope. They are terrified for Anu and feel the urge to finally tell the truth. But Vijay stops them. He reminds them that they have already suffered this far and there is no turning back now. He stands firm on his promise that no matter what happens, he will not let his family end up in prison. Mahesh finally steps in and confronts Meera, demanding that everything stop. What they are doing is illegal, and even after all the pressure, the family still refuses to confess. He begins to question whether Gaiton's accusations are even true. But Gaiton does not hold back. In a sudden moment, he strikes Anu. And under fear, she finally breaks. She reveals where they buried Samir. Without wasting any time, the police rush to the location and begin digging. A crowd quickly gathers, along with the media. Vijay's friends and family speak out, accusing Gaiton of abusing his power and insisting that Vijay's family is being framed. As the digging continues, they uncover a sack, and a strong, foul smell fills the air. But when the sack is finally opened, the truth shocks everyone. It is not Samir's body inside, but the body of a dog. At that moment, everything turns. Vijay tells Rajesh what Gaiton did to his daughter, and the crowd immediately storms in, attacking Gaiton.
Meera, please come. Let's go.
News spreads rapidly, exposing how the police tortured an innocent family without proof. Protests erupt across the region. Gaiton is dismissed from his position. Prabhakar and the officers involved in the case are transferred. Meera is forced to take indefinite leave, and the police are no longer allowed to interrogate Vijay's family without court approval. Later, Nandini reflects on everything and feels sympathy for Meera's family, whose lives have been shattered. Vijay understands her feelings, but he sees it differently. He believes that if the roles were reversed, Meera would have done the exact same thing to protect her child. In his eyes, this situation is beyond right or wrong. He then asks Nandini to move on and forget everything, but she cannot help asking one final question. When did he move Samir's body? The answer reveals everything. Vijay moved the body on the night of October 3rd after disposing of the car. And even now, he refuses to tell anyone where it is buried, not even his own wife. From the very beginning, he knew that sooner or later, one of them might break under pressure. That is why he kept the most important secret to himself. Sometime later, the police return, but not to arrest him. Instead, Vijay is asked to meet Meera and Mahesh. This time, they are not speaking as powerful figures, but simply as parents who lost their only son. They admit their mistakes, realizing that they raised Samir with too much freedom. Now they regret it deeply. They apologize sincerely and reveal that they plan to leave for London. But before they go, Mahesh pleads for one thing: to know what really happened to his son. They have been living in uncertainty, still hoping that he might be alive. Vijay remains silent for a long moment. Then he finally apologizes as well. He explains that his family once lived a quiet and peaceful life, until an uninvited guest entered their home and threatened to destroy everything. They tried to stop it, but it went too far, and an incident occurred that could not be undone. In the end, that unwanted guest was sent to a place from which there is no return. Through his words, it becomes clear. Vijay is admitting the truth, but in his own way. He chose his family above everything else, and in that moment, he no longer saw the world in terms of right or wrong. Once again, he apologizes from the bottom of his heart. The story then returns to the opening scene. Vijay is not under arrest after all. He is simply there to sign the documents confirming that the case has been officially closed. A senior inspector tells him that he must feel proud for outsmarting the entire police force and believes that the body will eventually be found. But Vijay remains calm. He insists that he respects the police and would never try to outsmart them. In the end, he says something that sounds simple, yet carries a deeper meaning. He believes the new inspector and the new police station will always protect him. And then the final truth is revealed. Samir's body was buried beneath the foundation of the new police station, just 2 days before the flooring was completed, which means no matter how long they search, it will never be found. And in the most ironic way possible, the police themselves will forever be protecting the secret. So the moral of the story is, never underestimate a movie addict with receipts, free bus rides, and way too much time to think.